Hello, welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. We're back again with another League of Ireland show. This is the first division show, and I'm joined by Gary Spain once again. Gary, how are you keeping?
Good, Paul.
Yeah, well, we're going to get straight into it. Cabinteely 2, Galway nil from Eamon DC Park, and it was Kevin Knight and Shane Barnes with the goals. For you, predictive result?
Well, yes. I mean, yes and no. I mean, if you're looking before lockdown, Cabinteely had a perfect record, 3 wins out of three, and Galway hadn't won a game. Having said that, before the start of the season, a lot of people, including myself, fancied Galway to have a good season. I was thinking maybe lockdown came at a good time. They're at home in Eamon DC Park. They have a chance to lay down a marker and beat Cabinteely, but it wasn't like that. And Cabo won again. They're 4 wins out of four. They're 5 points clear at the top, and that was a hugely impressive win to go down there and win that game. And they're the form team in the division at the moment, and they're top. And hats off to them. Well done.
Yeah, well, I think Cabo in recent years, they've done well, got to a certain point, and then kind of crumbled, I would say. And they've always kind of been in a position where they could have maybe nicked the playoff spot last season. They were close to doing it. Maybe this could be the year that they finally do it, or they might even go up automatically now. Especially
But
with the congested fixtures.
yeah, they will probably say they were a bit unlucky to lose to Drogheda in the playoffs. I mean, they did beat Longford, but they have seemed to kick on, and I mean they could go up automatically. I mean, I think if you said to playoffs them at the moment, they'd probably turn it down, look down their nose at it because they're 5 points clear at the top, and there is an automatic promotion spot for the champions. And who's to say? I didn't expect them to come back as strong this season, but you can't argue with four wins out of four, 100% record, and nobody else is really standing out or impressing. So yeah, they this could be their year. It's still early days. I think we'll leave it a couple more rounds before making any rash predictions. But certainly, 4 wins out of four, you can't argue with that.
And as well as that, though, they should be capitalising on other teams not performing, and they seem to have done that. But you mentioned there, obviously, Drogheda, who they got beat by last year, but they took on Shamrock Rovers too, and found themselves 2-0 down after 23 minutes. Got Mark Hughes sent off in the 28th minute, and then at that point, as a Drogheda fan, I'm sure Kieran would have been thinking, oh no, here we go, this is going to be a rout. But they came back then in the 31st minute with a goal from Mark Doyle, and then Brandon Birmingham scored in the 81st minute to get the draw. And there was some good young players on show as well for Shamrock Rovers too. The likes of Kevin Zeffy made his debut, and other players like that. Um, Liam Scales getting the goal for Shamrock Rovers too as well. So they, I think as much as people have given that such a bad name, it's nice to see these young players get given an opportunity and actually playing in our league. I know maybe other teams can't get a chance to watch it, but just seeing them get their debuts is nice, I think. But just sticking with Drogheda for a sec, um, these are games that Drogheda should be looking to win. And the fact that they scraped the draw is good for them in a sense, but they need to be winning those games, I think, if they want to get promotion. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, definitely before the match. I mean, Shamrock Rovers 2 haven't won a game yet. So I know, I believe they've been unlucky. They've been in a couple of occasions they could have won. But um, Drogheda would have been expecting to go to Tala and get 3 points. As you said, they were 2-0 down. They were down to 10 men, and they were looking at getting nothing. It definitely showed great character to come back and get the point. Um, I think they rode their luck a bit. I think Shamrock Rovers 2 hit the woodwork a couple of times at 2-1 in the second half. But you would expect the point will give Drogheda great confidence. So it will be interesting to see how they react. It's probably not the result they wanted, but given they were 2-0 down and down to 10 men, they will probably consider it to be a great point given the circumstances. And they still have plenty of time to chase down Cabinteely. I mean, Drogheda will be there or thereabouts. If they don't if they don't catch Cabinteely, if they don't win the division, they will certainly be in the playoffs and be very dangerous in the playoffs. They came very close against Finn Harps in last year's playoff, and they'll probably look at going one better if they don't go up automatically. So a good point for Drogheda, a great point when you're 2-0 down and down to 10 men. But they need to start picking up some wins now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of staying in around the division there, and next, you have Drogheda, Bray, and Longford all level on 7 points now after 4 games played. Cabo, are obviously up top there, 4 wins out of 4. But Bray with a 0-0 draw against Cove, and Longford with a 0-0 draw against UCD. You're probably looking at that going, there were opportunities for them to capitalise and kind of stay. They win them their 10 points, only 2 off top. These are games that they need to be winning, but at the same time, you do have to take into account that they're only back. Maybe we're looking at that a bit further ahead.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I think both. I mean, Bray drew 0-0 at home to Cove, which I think would have been a major disappointment for them. Longford, they probably would have been expecting to go to UCD, to go to Belfield and win. They drew 0-0. I know Ger was at that game. I don't think they did enough to win. But then Bray go down to Longford and win 2-0. Now, that for me was a surprise. I was actually expecting Longford to really be the ones that would challenge Cabo at the top. So, I mean, yeah, it's probably a good comeback for Bray to actually go down. I mean, had they got a point in Longford and beaten Cove, they'd have been very happy. Probably thinking, God, we only got the point at home, but then went down and had a great win at Bishopsgate. So, and I don't think too many people expected Bray to be challenging at near the top. Certainly, in my case, I thought it could be Cabo, but mainly Longford and Drogheda. So, yeah, they're all 5 points, which is a reasonable enough gap. But any of them put a couple of wins together, they can pull clear. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, well, just kind of the last game of those kind of fixtures was obviously Athlone, losing 3-1 to Wexford. We had goals from Jack Doherty, and then Kaleem Strawbridge Simon, and then Ronan Manning. I think he's brother of Ryan Manning.
That's correct.
Yeah, scored for Athlone. But again, it's so hard to kind of judge these games when you're just kind of going off, reports, and you're not getting to actually see the games like you can with the Premier Division games. You can actually watch them now and watch LOI. But these games, it's hard for us to kind of go, oh yeah, well they were good, they were bad when you can't really watch the game.
Yeah, I would like to see a streaming service for the First Division as well. I think that would certainly help. Yeah, I mean, if you go back to Friday night, Athlone at home to Wexford, Athlone didn't have a point at that stage. Wexford didn't have a win. It was a great win for Wexford, you have to say that, to go down and win 3-1. And I mean, if you're looking at the table, they're currently in the last playoff spot, just ahead of UCD and goal difference. Athlone then went to Galway on Monday night and picked up their first point. That was a good 2-2 draw for Athlone. I know they led twice, but I'm sure they'll be happy with the point. Another disappointment for Galway, obviously. I mean, this has been a disastrous season for a team. It has to be so far. I mean, they haven't won a match yet. But yeah, it is hard to tell. I certainly don't see Athlone getting too far off the bottom. I don't see Athlone challenging for the playoffs. To be honest, I didn't really see Wexford doing it. They're currently in the playoff spot, and as you say, we haven't really seen them. We don't have a stream for any of these games, so it is hard to tell. But well, let us know, Wexford fans. What do you think? Are you contenders for the playoffs? I mean, the league table says you are at the moment, anyway.
Yeah, well, there was obviously a couple of games there being played the other night, Monday. A 2-0 win for Bray against Longford at Bishopsgate. Gary Shaw with both goals, and yeah, another surprising result. You're thinking that Longford are going to be the ones that are going to be challenging, but Bray pulled off a brilliant result, and I think someone like Shaw is going to be vital for Bray to try and get up into the Premier Division. He has that experience. He's played for big clubs with big pedigree, and he's actually from Longford, funny enough.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Shaw's been around this league a lot. I mean, he's playing with top clubs, as said, like Shamrock Rovers. He's scored a lot of goals, and yeah, he's a great player for Bray to have, and he showed it the other night with those 2 goals.
Yeah, again, it's difficult to kind of judge the game or see if it was close or anything like that because you get no reports or anything like that about it. I mean, even on the SSE Electricity website, they only just have goal for Bray Wanderers, so you wouldn't even know who scored the goals. Hopefully they can fix that up. But then the last game then is Galway United 2, Athlone 2, and the goals for Galway were Michael Place in the 41st minute and Francis Lombato in the 87th minute. And then for Athlone, it was either Tanner or Tainer Armand Dogan in the 22nd minute and Adam Lennon in the 59th minute. I suppose that's kind of a battle of the bottom game. What was your kind of? I mean, I don't imagine the result shocked you in any way.
Yeah, well, I suppose I keep getting disappointed by Galway. I mean, Athlone have been. I think most people expected Athlone to struggle this season. I didn't expect Athlone to be far off the bottom from the start, and that was their first point. They did lead twice, as you said, and but Galway came back. I think Galway will be bitterly disappointed at not winning the game. Now, obviously, I haven't watched it. I don't know. I haven't really gone by reports, but it is a game you would expect Galway to win. And maybe I'm being too unfair here because if you look at the league table, you're right. It is a battle of the bottom. Galway haven't won a match yet. 3 draws from 4 games. That defeat by Cabo. Um, so it's hugely disappointing because Galway, and maybe I still think and I still hope. I actually like Galway. I used to live there for 7 years, and I would like to see them do well. I think the Premier Division needs a club uh, a club in Galway. It's too big a city. And I had really hoped they would challenge for promotion. Obviously, we've nothing to see yet. They'll be bitterly disappointed because anyone that's hoping to win the division or hoping to get into the playoffs, you would expect them to take care and beat Athlone at home and Galway to come back twice to even get a point. So yeah, it's if you look at the league table, it was just a battle at the bottom, an expected result, and but I would have expected Galway to win.
Yeah, well, I would have too, but sure, look, that's just kind of the way it happened. But the games coming up this week are as follows. Um, so Drogheda to take on Bray at 7:45 on Friday night. Then you have UCD against Shamrock Rovers 2 at 7:45 from the UCD Bowl, and then you have Wexford against Cabinteely at 7:45 as well. And then Saturday you've got Cove versus Galway at 7, and then you've got Longford versus Athlone at 7:30 as well. So there's lots of games to look forward to. Um, Obviously you won't be able to watch them unless you are involved with the club or whatever for the time being. It's just this way we are living in these times at the moment that people are just gonna have to be patient, ourselves included, that we don't always get into games. But we'll have some of the lads covering some of the games there over the weekend. Obviously, we'll be covering our own games in the Premier Division as well.
Yeah, some crucial games coming up, and I think Drogheda Bray in particular will tell a lot about the playoff. Who's going to be in contention for playoff or challenge Cabo for top spot.
Yeah, well, if you guys, that's been the end of our first division show. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you want to predict the games that are being played over the weekend, feel free to do that in the comments. And if you want to follow us individually, our social media handles are above our heads. And if you listen on podcasts, don't forget to give the video a like and subscribe. And don't forget to rate it 5 stars if you wouldn't mind, please. I will speak to you guys soon. As always, thanks for watching and take care.
Thank you.